Want to create stunning butterfly cards? Today I'm sharing 3 easy card designs that are bold, beautiful, and best of all, simple to make. Hi everyone, I'm Nancy Novak and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week we're using the Sketched Butterflies bundle to create 3 unique cards, each with a different technique to make your butterflies shine. So we're going to be stamping on designer series paper, layering for dimension, and adding fun textures with embossing. Plus, I have a special tip for making your die-cut butterflies stand out even more. The Sketched Butterflies has the stamp set with all the butterflies and some nice sentiments, and it has coordinating dies, plus a few extra dies that cut out some of the images that are not here, that are not stamped. Cuts out the stamped images plus more. So, like I said, these are 3 easy cards, and we all love easy cards, but they're beautiful. So the first one, we're going to use Blueberry Bushel as our card base, and I have a white piece for inside. I have a white piece for the front and a piece of designer series paper. So this designer series paper is from the Bloom Impressions pack, 12 by 12 sheets, and it's one of the Sale-a-Bration items that you can earn free. And Sale-a-Bration is until February 25th. And when you spend $60, you get to choose something free out of the catalog. So we're going to bring in our butterfly, and we're going to stamp right on the designer series paper. So we're going to stamp in Blueberry Bushel, and we're going to use quite a few of the stamps that are in the set. So I'm going to start with the big butterfly, and we're going to stamp here and there with all of these stamps. So I'm going to start right up here in the top left corner of this designer series paper. So that was the largest butterfly. There's a medium size, there's a smaller one, there's one that is flying sideways, and then there's a set of little butterflies. So this is the medium, the small one. So I'm going to stamp with the smaller butterfly, and I'm going to stamp down here in this corner. And we have room right here, so I'm going to stamp with the butterfly that's flying sideways. And now I'm going to stamp the thank you sentiment down here. Now we have some space here. So I'm going to take this stamp here, which has 4 butterflies on one stamp, and I'm going to see how they fit. And I can see that I can fit 2 of them right here nicely. So I'm just going to ink up the 2. I don't have to necessarily mask, because it's pretty easy to just ink up 2 of the butterflies without inking up the other butterflies. But I am going to look to make sure that I didn't get ink on the other 2 before I stamp. And there you go. Perfect, right? Okay, so I am going to glue the designer series paper that we just stamped to the white piece, and then we're going to pop that up on the front of our card. Okay, I'm going to glue this to the inside, and I have another piece of that designer series paper, a little leftover scrap, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the inside of our card also. So for thank you cards, I kind of like to leave the inside blank so I can write my thank you note. But on the front, we're going to bring in our rhinestones, and I'm going to show you a little trick. So I'm going to bring in my Blueberry Bushel Stampin' Blend, and I want to put a couple of rhinestones on here, but I'd like them to be blue. So I'm just going to color them in with my Stampin' Blend. And there is card number 1. Very, very pretty and easy. So let's go on to card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, I have a card base of Blueberry Bushel, and I have a white piece for the front, a white piece for the inside, and a piece of designer series paper for the inside. For the front, I have a scrap of Azure Afternoon. I have a scrap of designer series paper, and again, this is the Bloom Impressions designer series paper. I have a scrap of 2 scraps of white, and I have a little bit of black and white gingham ribbon, and I have the exposed brick embossing folder. So on this card here, we're going to bring back in the everyday arches, and I did a video last week, and we made 3 cards using these arches. And you can go back and look at that. In fact, at the end of this video, there'll be a little link, probably right over here or here. Anyway, you'll be able to click it and see those videos if you haven't seen them yet. But for this one, we are going to cut a arch out of white and an arch out of the pretty designer series paper. And there's project sheets for all of my cards. So if you are a subscriber to my free newsletter, right after this video, I send you that project sheet, and it has all of the supplies that I used. It has the sizes, has the colors, and it has shopping links, has everything you need to recreate these. So we're going to, when we use these arches, I like to say that the way I indicate which ones you're going to use, there's 10 arches, with the largest one for me is being number 1, down to 10 being the smallest. So when I say arch number 10, that means, or arch number 1, that is the largest one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 being the smallest one. So we're going to use arch number 5 to cut out a white arch, and then the smaller one, arch number 6, and we're going to cut out an arch using that designer series paper. So I will cut those out really quick, and remember, I fast forward, so I will be right back. Okay, so we have our 2 arches cut out, and now we're going to take our other scrap of white and we're going to do a little stamping. So we're going to bring in the second largest butterfly, which is that one right there, and we're going to also stamp Thinking of You, and we're going to stamp in Memento black ink. So I'm going to bring my dies in and die cut the butterfly. So I'll do that, and then we're going to fussy cut our sentiment out. So there's our butterfly. And now the sentiment, I'm just going to fussy cut all the way around. Okay, so that's done, really quick and easy. And then before we put this together, we have one more thing to do. I'm going to take this piece of cardstock, that's Azure Afternoon, and I'm going to run it through the embossing folder to give it some pretty texture. Okay, so we have all of our pieces die cut and stamped, so we can put the front of the card together. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the white piece to the card front. I'm going to glue our 2 arches together, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so our textured piece is going to go there, and I'm going to pop up our arch, and then we're going to add the butterfly and our sentiment. I'm going to glue the sentiment down, and I'm going to pop up our butterfly. Actually, I'm going to glue the butterfly down too. Okay, we're going to add a bow to the front, but before that, I'm going to do the inside. So I have our white piece for the inside and a little strip of that designer series paper. But before I glue that down, I am going to stamp the inside sentiment. I'm going to stamp that in Memento black ink. And I'm bringing in another stamp from the Sketched Butterflies, and it's a birthday card, so it's going to be wishing you a beautiful birthday. Okay, so let's add our bow to the front. We're going to add that with a glue dot. There is card number 2. So on to our 3rd card. And if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, be sure to give it a thumbs up because it really does help my YouTube channel and I really appreciate it. So now, funny story. I created this card, but I didn't hit the record button, so you guys didn't see me make it. So I am going to talk about it a little bit, and of course this will be on your project sheet, so you don't have to worry about that. But again, all the cards are fairly simple to make, so I'm sure once we talk about it, you'll be able to recreate this card. So I have a card base of white, and I have a blue layer, a white layer, and then I have 3 strips of the designer series paper. So the strips are 4 inches by 1 inch, and I just laid them on there. And then I popped up this whole layer right there on the front of the card. Then I die cut using this detailed die, and I cut one out in Blueberry Bushel, and I cut one out in Daffodil Delight. So then the reason I did that was because the yellow didn't show up very well on that designer series paper. But when you layer it and just offset it just a little bit, it really makes the butterflies pop. So again, this is a very detailed die. So I wanted to mention that whenever you're using detailed dies, they can sometimes be frustrating because they can kind of get stuck and it's kind of hard to break away all the little pieces. So I have a couple of tips for you. First one is make sure that you have knocked out all the little pieces from before. If you've used this die before, sometimes those little pieces get stuck in there. So you just want to take a little, your little scissors or whatever, make sure that you release all those little pieces that are left over. And then the other little tip is to take a piece of wax paper and then run your die through with wax paper. That creates a slick surface and it helps the cardstock just release really, really easily. So those are my 2 tips for that. And then I went ahead and I cut out an oval using Blueberry Bushel. So I cut an arch out, and this is arch number 10. It's the smallest die in the Everyday Arches set. So I cut that out. And then once I cut that out, I just lined my arch up again on the straight part. So I did that. And what's nice about this is you have the stitched edging. So the stitches fit really nice in there. And I just ran it through just enough to get the arch cut out, and it created that oval. Now I did show you how to do this in last week's video, where I made 3 cards using the Everyday Arches. So it's really easy to use. And like I said, the stitching really does make it easy. So it's not hard to do. So again, we popped up this whole rectangle on the front of the card with dimensionals. And because we layered these, there's more substance behind there. And I was able to pop up the butterflies. And then I popped up our oval sentiment. And that sentiment is from Unbounded Love. And then I stamped the inside using the birthday sentiment from Sketched Butterflies. So inside, we stamped Wishing You a Beautiful Birthday. So that was card number 3. And I'm so sorry that that video got goofed up, but that's what happens. But again, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out using your project sheet. So again, we have 3 cards that we made. All of them are very easy, but still so pretty. And we used the Sketched Butterflies stamp set and the dies. So this one we stamped right on the designer series paper, and we created a nice thank you card. And then this one here, the beautiful black and white butterfly with the black and white gingham, where we textured just a little piece of cardstock behind, and we are wishing you a beautiful birthday. And then our third card, where we have the 3 pieces of designer series paper, and we used the die cut to cut out 2 sets of butterflies. Then we overlapped them, and we created another birthday card. So I hope you enjoyed these butterfly card ideas, and if you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment and subscribe for more card making inspiration. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll be back here next Wednesday, and I'm going to create a really cool fun fold card. It's one of my most popular video tutorials, and I don't want you to miss that. But for these cards, you can find all the supplies I used linked below. And don't forget to check out my weekly newsletter. You can sign up for that below, and then I will send you your project sheets right to your email address. And don't forget to visit my blog, because I will have big pictures of tonight's cards so you can see them in nice detail. So thank you for joining me. I will see you next time. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.